All right, stop. Take a look. What happened this time for you? Okay. Does anybody want to share? Let's see what you've got. Go ahead, be brief. Okay, Christy's got something for us here. All right, lovely. Right, so it can look a little disjointed, and it probably should, especially if you haven't done this a number of times. Let's look at Jeff's. Wow, Jeff, you've been practicing. That's really connected well. It's really lovely. Let's take a look at Jasmine's. It doesn't need to. It can be a total. We'll pull it back a bit. It's over. Oh, there we. Oh, yeah. It's really big, isn't it? Oh, there, I got it. I see it now. Excellent. Okay, anyone else? Let's see. We got Mary Lou. Replace. There we go. Nice. Very good. Diane. Beautiful. That's looking great. Diane, more details along the way. Follow along. Check out those wrinkles and things. I mean, like in the we all have the wrinkles. So, anyone else? Okay. All right. So that's an okay beginning. Believe me, at this point, a lot of people have a squiggle and it's just all in one spot and just overlaps everything, or it's spread out, or I've seen it right across the whole page. I've seen all sorts of things. The main thing we did is we followed this bug without looking where? At the drawing, right? So the thing that this does is it makes us totally focus on the input, on looking at the movement of the bug across the surface. And by following the bug, we're not moving ahead, we're not falling behind, we're right there in the moment. And we're not worrying about what's on the paper. Why? Because as soon as we worry about the paper, we're trying to control it. We try to draw something. And that takes us out of our drawing brain and into our non-drawing brain that thinks it's the boss and thinks it knows how to do everything. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I'm going to back up. Some of this is going to be repeat for some of you. Simply tell you that when I was a kid, I loved drawing. I loved doing it. I was like any other kid. I would just draw like crazy. But then I got to the point where I was totally frustrated because I couldn't draw what I saw. I went, oh, that doesn't look like the real thing. And that's how kids' brain.
Camera on this thing's really good.
And and the kid's brain works that way, right? Until there's a change when they get to the point where they realize, oh, I'm not drawing well because I'm trying to draw a thing and it doesn't look like that thing. And that's where most of us stop. So I had this occasion, and I told some of you this before. I was just walking through a campground on vacation with my family. I looked up and I saw a tree. And I saw it for the first time. I saw the branches, how different they all were. I saw the light coming through. I saw the sky, the shape of the sky. And I saw that even though every leaf was exactly the same, they all looked different because they were at different angles and they were overlapping in different distances. And the light was hitting them different ways. And some of the light was coming through and the shadows were falling in them and they were casting shadows. And I suddenly saw it all. And I came to realize later on that I started to see like an artist. And then later on, when I was teaching, what was my frustration? I believed that the only way you could start to see something was if you had a sudden epiphany like I had, because that's all the experience I had. And guess what? Most artists think that, and most arts teachers do too. And so what will they tell you to do? Look harder, practice more, whatever. But we actually are employing a technique that allows you to bypass a lot of the things that get in the way and to actually see things again and see them the way an artist sees them. Okay. So that's what the process we're taking you through here today. So I'm going to go back to the gallery view. Do any have any questions before we move on to the next stage? Well, sorry, a couple things, and then we'll have some questions. One is that if you did this drawing the way I instructed, it's likely, again, one of the most honest drawings you've ever done because you couldn't moderate it, you couldn't judge it, and you couldn't make changes, and you could simply draw what you saw. And that's fantastic. Secondly, how long did that feel to most of you today? And I bet there's going to be different numbers than in the workshop. You can type it in the chat. You can hold up fingers. You can open your mic. 7 minutes, 5, 4, 5, 5, 6. Okay, didn't change that much. So we're just starting out, 4. Okay, so it was actually about 5.5. It went a bit long compared to what I usually do. So what you'll find that as you do this more and more, the time will start to fall away. But in the beginning, and even now, and the fact that it's the first drawing of the day, is typically when we still have voices going on, negative voices in our head. That's the non-drawing brain. It can do a lot of talking, and it can say, hey, this is crazy, this is dumb, why are you doing this? It makes no sense. This isn't how you learn how to draw. It thinks it knows how, by the way. It knows nothing about this. And as long as there's chatter going on in your head, that becomes a timekeeper, and it makes you aware of time. And you all know that if you had somebody nagging over your shoulder, time feels like it's taking forever, right? 5 minutes feels like it's an hour. If somebody's sitting there going, well, you don't know what you're doing, why are you trying this? That, okay? But the more you do this, the more that voice, and my voice will start to go, and then finally, like my mom calling me to dinner when I'm a kid, or calling me to set the table. Maybe that's it. And I don't even hear her. I don't even hear her. And she thinks I'm just being stubborn. And I'm like, no, I'm an artist. I don't hear things anymore because I'm too involved in seeing them, right? And it's a great transformation. Now questions before we, Angie, do you have something there?
Okay, I had a question. Okay, so this happened, Juniper woke up.
Yes.
But also, so I was a little rushed because I knew she was crying. And so what I noticed was my tempo was, my picture looks, I got a really fat finger because when I turned the corner, I didn't go long enough down to make the width of my finger accurately. So I am wondering is if the tempo and the rate of your movement makes a difference?
You actually, at the beginning, don't even have to be aware of proportions and placement. It doesn't have to be connected, doesn't have to be right. We're actually only looking at the lines. And what you can do is you can look at your own lines and you'll see where you were following accurately, where you were focused, and you'll probably see some areas where the lines get a little more generic. They get like a little softer, a little like just a smooth line, whatever. They tend to look like, oh, I wasn't really looking at that point. And so even now you can judge which parts where you're focused and non-focused. That's far more important. You'll notice that some of the people have more proportional stuff. Guess what? That just comes with practice and time, and you start to develop a better spatial awareness, even when you're drawing and your hand knows where it is and all that. And that comes with time and practice. But we're going to actually get closer to that much sooner, not just with practice, but by changing how we look. The lead hardness for these exercises, Jeff, I'd say I tend to draw with a bit darker so you guys can see it a little easier. It's really up to you. I like to draw a lot of times with a 2B or something like that. Here's another thing. For those of you that have been doing this a little more, think about varying your pressure on your pencils so that when you're to an outside edge or something that's more prominent, you can press a little harder. When you get to some really light wrinkles and stuff, you can go lighter. You can loosen up on the pressure a bit. Okay. Yeah, Jeff, you had better spatial layout. Exactly. That's going to come with practice. The more people have been doing this for a long time. For those of you that are new to this is also used by professionals as a warm-up exercise to focus in on detail, on seeing, and on focus and getting the voice out of your head. Okay. All right. Are you good, Lynn? I know this is the first time and you didn't get to do too much drawing there. Did it work out for you okay at all? Lynn? Yeah, you're understanding what the process? We're going to do the same thing again.
I am. I'm sorry. It was just a call.
Okay. So getting the hand in a totally different place. So we're looking at 180 degrees. So hands here, looking at it, pencils over here, drawing. Okay, that's the key thing. Okay, now we're going to add one new wrinkle at this point. Are you good, Angie? You're going to be able to draw, or you need to babysit? You're good? Okay. So here's the new wrinkle. As long as you're feeling good. If you feel like you need to redo that one, you go ahead and do that at this time. But if you feel fairly confident, you know what you're doing there. Again, you're just following the bug, and don't worry, you're not responsible for what's on the paper. Not at all. So at this point, when you're jumping, when you jump, you can look back, see where you jump, place it, then look back, find the bug again, and start to follow the bug again. Do not watch yourself drawing at any point. And when you look, do not look at the drawing and judge it. Make any judgment calls. That's not what the only reason you're looking is to make sure you're jumping where you want to jump. That's the only reason you're looking. Okay? Are we ready to go on to the next step? All right. Good. Then let's begin. Don't worry about what's on the paper. Your pencil is simply recording the movement of your eye, and your eye is following the movement of the bug. Don't get ahead of the bug. Don't get behind. Take it slowly. There's no rush to finish. And Angie, if you can't do it now, this is something you can do at any point now, right? You know what the exercise is, and it's pretty simple. But it's good if you stick with us anyway to see what people come up with and see what happens. Keep it slow. Don't judge the drawing. Go slower than you think you should. Okay, we can stop. Take a look. You can now take a look at your drawing. So I was thinking a little further, Angie. Really, what I meant to say is that at this point, the drawing can be a scribble. It can just look like a mass of lines and doesn't have to be connected at all. Portray a hand. A lot of times people aren't even drawing the outside edge. They're only drawing inside wrinkles. And I've had people just do fingerprints, right? And so it's more about simply perceiving and being accurate and watching, with care and focus. And as I said, that first exercise, especially the one where you don't look at all, is a beautiful warm-up exercise. It's used by artists all the time. And I really recommend doing at least 5 minutes of this every day for the next while, if you can, to commit to it. It's going to just 5 minutes a day. And it's like compound interest. You can draw once a week for an hour. You'll get far more benefit by drawing 5 minutes a day, every day, because that's going to compound. It's going to become part of you. It's going to enter into you. How long was that one? 10, really long, Jeff. Okay. Anyone else? So got a 5, got an 8, got a 7. Okay. So we're around about a 10 over there. Okay, so that was 8.5 minutes. So as you get more and more good at this, into this, it will seem shorter. Got 7 minutes from Mary Lou. Okay. So yeah. And this can vary from time to time. That's the last time I'm going to do the timing thing. It's just to be aware that noise, outside noise, even words, music, all those things can keep time for us. And when you get truly into the drawing brain, you'll start to lose track of time. It'll start to not just flow. And I do actually have students where I say, hey, set an alarm so you remember to feed your kids or show up for dinner or go to class or go to sleep, because it's typical for an artist to start painting and not remember to eat or to go to sleep or anything else, right? That can happen quite easily.
I think this is important. You're really talking here about getting into your brain. And when you said a mention about not judging it, I think that in the non-artist brain, you want to judge it. You want to observe the work as opposed to observe the connection. And I think that second time when I was distracted with a baby and I wasn't as able to get the connection, yeah, I could tell the difference. And so I can totally see how repeating this would make a big difference to get into what you're actually seeing, because I don't think many of us really do that.
No, because here's exactly, and this is a great entry into the next thing I'm going to talk about, and that is the fact that here's me following the bug, and there's an accuracy to it, and I can tell exactly where I'm really focused, where I'm talking too much and not paying too much attention. But right at the beginning, I was really, really focused. In here, I was kind of like, I can tell I was just trying to finish it off. But the non-drawing brain, it's the practical brain. It's the brain that gets us through life. And it says a hand. I know what a hand looks like. It's got a palm. It's got 5 fingers. It looks like eggs and sausage, right? And I got a word for it. That's a symbol that symbolizes it for me. That makes it easier to do it. I'll put it in a file folder. I'll close it up so I don't even look at it. And every time I deal with the hand from now on, I've got it. It's taken care of. Do the same with the table. Table, rectangle, 4 legs, whereas I'm looking at real life at a table and it's like, okay, that doesn't look anything at all like what I was imagining. That's the table. Okay, that's a little more interesting. So why do we do that? Well, because otherwise we're going through life and we're having to see everything all the time and make judgment calls on everything and get caught up in everything. And that's not practical. Life, we got to get through it. We got to get practical. We ignore 99.999% of what we see. We just ignore it. Our brain filters it out. We don't. If I asked you about, if I turn off the camera right now and ask you what color clothing I'm wearing, or what's the painting behind me, the one you can't see, what's the third painting you can't see, You won't know what it is. Your brain filters that out. Same as it's filtering this out all the time. But when I'm looking with the drawing brain, I look at the table and I go, I see this table. And in fact, I go, oh, if I move my head, it looks different. Oh, it looks different again. If I go up, it's different. If I go down, every single move. And if we were to deal with that in life all the time, we'd be like, I'm I can't get out the door of my house because I'm just fascinated by everything and I want to look at it at every different angle and draw it that way, which is exactly great for the artist brain to see and perceive in all these interesting ways. Okay, so we're giving time for this brain, part of the brain that hasn't probably gotten a lot of time or education or strengthening or training or anything at all like that. We're giving it its due time so that it can strengthen. And I've talked about this in the past, that the non-drawing brain is a talking brain, talking. It's that voice we continually hear all the time. And the drawing brain is mute. And so when there's an argument, so the techniques I'm going to teach you, they trick, they distract, they train, and they bore the non-drawing brain. This one serves to bore in many ways the non-drawing brain. It just goes like, I give up. I don't know what to do with this. You're making me do something I don't know what to do with. And so it just backs off after a while and the drawing brain takes over. So anybody have anything they want to share in terms of what they came up with? I'd love to see some of the drawings. All right, Jasmine is always enthusiastic to share. So that's great. Wowza, like, wow. Do you have your very first drawing before the very first class to show? So this is from, this first drawing would be from what, Tuesday last week? So this is how far she's come in a week. Okay. So she wasn't bad, but show us the new one again. And that was when she was looking at the drawing. This is today, not even looking at the drawing. This kid's got some potential. You all do. That's some amazing stuff. Like, I'm blown away. Okay, anyone else? And don't be intimidated by Jasmine just because she's now my new favorite. I'm kidding. No favorites. All right. I can't see you all at once, so just pop it up there and I'll eventually find you.
I can show you. I was embarrassed the very first time because I didn't understand the connection.
That's fine. We're all good with that.
So I'll show you. And this is why I didn't want to show you, because I was really embarrassed. This is what I came up with the very first time. And that was the bug that was bugging me. And I was following the real bug. Then when you explained it to me afterwards, watch the hand, I'm still not good, but I think I'm going to get there.
Right, following a real bug is a great experience. Lynn, that is extraordinary.
The second time.
That's extraordinary. You're already, you're
That's
way ahead of the curve.
Okay,
you got nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, Deb.
That was the imaginary bug, I guess, or the whichever bug it was.
Any bug.
It was okay. It was
even
okay.
Following the other bug is okay. A real bug is okay too, because you were actually following real life.
Okay, thank you.
So it resolves. Oh, gorgeous. So guys, some of these people have drawn a bit in the past and some have taken a workshop and whatever. Don't judge by each other, for one thing, but appreciate and learn what's possible. Okay, I'm going to jump in with, that's fantastic. Angie, let's take a look. I can't believe what you've accomplished, Angie, with all that distraction going on. That's pretty astounding. Nice work. Okay, anyone else want to share? Diane, I see you waiting patiently. Ha, lovely. And you got some of the wrinkles and stuff in there. Explore even more. Get into those details. This bug loves to check out what's... anyone else? Mary Lou, you got something for us? I'd love to see. Seeing each other's work along the way. This is why I like to do this as a group. Oh, that's fantastic. I love the lovely bends and the overlaps and stuff. The proportions are kind of fun and crazy right now, but they will become better at time. Okay, Christy, I see you. Yes. Okay. So the evidence here is that this isn't just there aren't just outliers, and there just aren't, like, you people here are all at different levels of experience, of age, of practice, and you're all achieving this, right? So this is kind of proof that this is not just special people with special talent or outliers. And maybe there's a bit of self-filtering in that people that are really interested are here. But guess what? I've seen the original drawings some of you did before you even started the class 2 weeks ago, and you have come an amazingly long way. Okay. So should we do the third one, or should we jump right into the last one? We probably what are you saying, Jasmine? Which one? Jeff wants cookies. Okay.
I didn't know. Like, I don't really.
You don't know? Okay. How about we do this one in class, then I will explain the last one right at the end of class, and you can do it on your own if you have time. Okay. So the next one, and that makes the most sense. It's the most complete way to do this. So the next one, the change we're going to make is we're going to place our hands somewhere in the periphery, so that when we're drawing and following the bug, most of the time we're still looking over here. We're following the bug, but we can check over here. And basically all we're doing is making sure that things are in alignment. We're getting a bit more of the placement and proportion, like, oh, that's way too far over. Okay. But we're not erasing, we're not going back, but using our periphery and occasionally looking over. But 75% of the time, we still need to be following the bug. The danger here is this is where drawings can go really wrong. This is where things can go bad. And that's because then the non-drawing brain can jump in and say, oh, I know what hands look like now that I can see that's what you're trying to do. And it will draw eggs and bacon for us, or eggs and sausage. Bacon if your hand's been run over and everything's gotten flattened. But so I'm a little crazy. So any questions on that before we jump in and do it?
Do you want us to do like shading? Like, I know.
Nope, we're going to save that for the very last one. This is still going to be pretty quick. We're not going to be drawing for a long time on this one. So and then at the very end, I'll do the shading thing because some people haven't seen that yet, and that'll be the final thing. And you can stay online and draw with me, or you can do it in your own time. I'll be here. I'll probably just be in the background doing things. Okay.
Randall, I didn't see what you did. The camera was focused on somebody else.
Sorry. What did I just say? Oh, simply here. Let me do the focus again. Yes, you're right. Okay. All I was saying is have your hand to the side on your paper so that when you're following the bug, you can, out of the edge of your eye, and you can just glance over and see where you are. And so you can see the connection. So when you jump, you can look over and go, oh, there's where I should jump, and then jump back, and you can jump to the right spot again, and so on. Okay. But the focus needs to still be on your hand on the bug as it goes around. Okay. Cool. Now I've perfectly explained or over explained. Battery's almost gone. Okay. All right. I missed the very first a few minutes of the recording. My apologies. Someone can always remind me because I tend to do that, to throw the recording on right away. But away you go. For my own purposes, I will time it. But don't worry about the timing. Keep it slow. Don't rush. Don't try to finish. Don't try to draw a hand. Just follow a bug. Keep it slow. Even when there's a smooth line, spend your time and make sure that there aren't any details you're missing. Slow it down. It's temptation to rush as you get to the end. Okay. We could go longer, but we're gonna stop it there for today, so we can keep on going. I'm gonna speed things up a little bit so we can get through more of this. Might actually get through a good portion of the last drawing. Let's see what people have to show.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I can't. I can't see myself.
Oh, well, we can see you. You can just go ahead.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're spotlit right now. Yeah.
Look at this.
Fantastic. Yes.
Can you believe it? I can't. I can hardly believe it.
That's the beauty of it. Okay.
I'll show you.
There's Jasmine waiting impatiently.
From this,
yeah,
to this.
Came a long way. The one thing I forgot to do is ask people to do a drawing. I love to have a before drawing of your hand before you even start the class. Jasmine, gorgeous. Loving that. Look at the complexity of that.
Look at
I mean, one of the points I didn't really bring up, but it's starting to appear here right now is, that egg and sausage thing. This hand thing is so complex and so unusual. All the angles and curves and everything it does, and the way those fingers all bend differently, and the thumb way, and how she's capturing that, and how all of you are capturing that. Who's next? That's beautiful. Let's go with Betty. Oh, lovely Betty. We're going to go into shading on the next ones, but hey, it's great that you jumped ahead. That's fine. Let's go with Diane. I love how large that is, filling the page. And guess what? Suddenly all those new details in there give it a new life and new texture and lots of visual interest. Yeah, it's really great. Cool. Go, Christy. Oh, beautiful and elegant, and everything's starting, the proportions are all starting to fit together so well. Yes. Okay. Next. Deb. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Yes, liking all of that. I think the different angles that we're seeing on everything is really cool. All right. Who's still going to show? Jeff, we haven't seen anything from you in a bit. Do it. Don't be shy. Nothing to be ashamed of. Dude, nothing at all to be ashamed. That's big. It's bold. I love it. Don't cringe. No. Dan's giving you a clap, and I think everybody else would too. I've seen some nice nods and yes. And hey, I want to congratulate you, because I'll tell you, so few gentlemen pursue this, and I know a lot more would like to, and I don't know why, but they're a bit afraid to. And I congratulate you on being here with me, and with all of these wonderful females with us. It's all fantastic. It's great to have at least another guy, because I'm off and there's no other guys around. So thank you for being here with me. Okay, let's see. I guess, have we seen everybody that wants to? Okay, I think we've seen almost everybody anyway. Mary Lou, did we see yours? We didn't see yours. Can we? Let's do it. There's no need to be shy. We're among friends. Oh, yeah. Gorgeous. Lovely. Yeah, good. Okay. So I didn't get too far into this part. I didn't explain why hands. Oh, Christy, did you show yours already? Okay, good. Okay, why we do hands. This is a fun exercise to do with plants, with whatever else. But guess what? When we do hands, we can immediately start to figure out, looking after the fact, how accurate it is, how the proportions are starting to work together. But also, this is just a wonderful model. It's so full of complexity. It's not at all what we expect it to be. It's a challenge every time, and it has an infinite number of poses. And so you're never, you can say, oh, I'm bored drawing these lines slowly, but the subject matter itself, look at this, and then 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 look at this. And all of those are interesting guess I should have spotted myself so that you could see all those. Let's do it again. This and this and this and that and that and that and that and that and that and that. And how many different things can you do with this? Infinite, you know, if between how you shape your hand and the angles you use, it's rock and roll, it's peace, it's whatever. There's so much you can do there. Also, here's a biggie. It's among the two things that we typically think are the two hardest things to draw: face and hands. And if we can do the hands and the face, which is what we're going to focus on in this course, we're going to find out that we can do anything. And if we can do it from life, as opposed to drawing it from a flat surface like a screen or a photo, this might be hard for us to accomplish, because I'm going to encourage you in the last couple of classes to actually find a model, or you're going to be drawing yourself in a mirror. It's because it's going to be a bit more of a challenge. And then later on, if you want to draw from photos and all that, it'll be easier. Right, yes, you're definitely increasing your view of your hand. Mary Lou, the practice I talked about, yes, I would recommend full-on blind contour, because then it's totally dependent on your eyes, and you're just developing your eyes every single time. Now, go with that. Cool. So I'm going to jump into this last one, and like I said, I'll stay on longer if anyone wants to actually be on the whole time. So what I jumped ahead, and I'm not going to do the whole demo this time. I'm going to speed this up. So I just gave myself a gray tone, blended it in a bit. Then I'm going to really super fast this. Really, honestly, you're not going to draw anything like this. You're going to do your own thing, and it's going to be fantastic. So just imagine that you're watching this in fast motion. I've drawn once or twice before, right? So got a little experience doing this stuff. You know what? I'm still following the bug. I'm just more used to doing it. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now. Don't be intimidated by it. Don't do what I did. Do it the same way you've been doing it up till now. And did I spotlight myself, by the way? Am I spotlit? Yes, I am. Good. So what the next step is looking at this, you go in and you find the first level of darkness. And everything, including the background, that's at least a little darker than mid-tone, you just bring the side of your pencil in. Oops, I went too dark there. And you darken those. And you might find it's in unusual places, like at the top of your finger there. It's not where you expect it to be. And you just bring it up to the first level. Then you look for anything that's darker than that. And then you start to darken that area a little bit more. And it's kind of like a Polaroid process. You're just gradually bringing it up. And for instance, I would find those shadows. And I don't draw a line around the shadows because look at them, they're soft edged, or yours might be more harsh edged depending on what you're using to light. But nonetheless, they're not objects. So lines around shadows kind of are distracting. So we're not going to go with that. And then I'll go for the next layer of darkness. And so on and so forth, as many times as I need to build up. So just don't immediately go to the darkest darks. Build them up layer at a time as you go. Okay, so for instance, I eventually get the cast shadow on that finger. I'd eventually see I think my pencil is not sharpened enough. I'm not really getting a good hit there. There we go, that's better. So we're not getting all smudgy. We're not going to draw balloon animals. So that's getting that part going. And then we come in with our eraser, whatever you've got, and you look for the generally lighter areas. And just using it gently with an edge, you lighten up the lightest areas a little bit. And then same thing is I'll go and then I'll find the lightest areas and I'll go in with the eraser. And the eraser is a drawing tool. It's not going to be a correction tool. And we're going to bring in the highest highlights we've got going on, wherever those might be. And for instance, right here in the paper right now is one of the highlights. It's lighter than my hand, fair bit lighter than my hand, and I can use it to find where the hand is and where the shadows are. And I'm drawing fairly dark so that I don't lose a lot of the lines in the process of doing all the rest of this. And I can come back here and maybe lighten this up a bit more. And then lighten up even more in the few highlight spots. Oh, and there's, yeah, some highlights there. Is that enough of an idea? Yeah, I'm seeing lots of nods. I'm going to go through the next grouping here. Yeah, nods from everybody. Yeah, Lynn, you're getting it. Okay, cool. I don't even know if Angie's still there. I think her phone might have died and her avatar has remained.
Oh, I'm just watching. I'm traveling, but I'm being very safe.
Okay, good. Absolutely. I do that all the time. Don't tell anyone. Okay, excellent. Okay, and the replay will be there for you. Okay, so take your time with this. So gray your paper, using the side of your pencil. Smudge it then. That's the only time we're smudging. You might have to clean off your hands after that. Follow the bug drawing, then go in and gradually build up the darks. Yeah, you can use either one, Jasmine. I like my white eraser. I find more control with it, but some people, whatever you choose. If you like the kneaded eraser, I've also got this this guy here for fine details. Sometimes it's kind of fun to have something like that. But even a white eraser, you've got lots of sharp edges, so you can use it very detailed. And if it gets so that you don't have them, you can actually take an X-Acto knife and you can shape it however you want to, and make it into a tool of any sort for yourself. Okay. So the next while is just you guys drawing. If you must, you can either type in a question or turn on your mic. Try not to talk too much. And you're welcome to leave whenever you need to. I'm going to stick on until the last person is ready to go. Okay. And till then, I'm going to mute myself, but I'm going to hang out here and be ready for any questions. Other than that,
Can I ask a clarifying question before we
yes,
start?
absolutely.
When you're following the bug drawing, we're not doing it blind? We're doing it at this, it's out of the corner of your eye, or you want to
I did it right there.
more full on?
You're
just watching your hand.
I had my hand here and I had the drawing there. It makes it so it's taking the last step in the process and just adding the new element of spraying it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Okay, unless there's more questions, I am just going to let you go. All right. And I love it that a few of you can, show on camera what you're actually doing. That's kind of fun. I know that doesn't work for everyone, and sometimes the cameras don't have the resolution or they don't have the. That's it. I'm out of words anymore. I'm back to being an artist. Okay, I'm just gonna shut up now.
I had put something in the chat, but were there any preferred pencil types that you like to use?
I typically find that it's easier with a softer pencil to lay down the darknesses. So I was using, I think, a 4B, but then you have to be a bit more gentle with your touch and control it. And then, I was using, I think, a 2B for the drawing, or maybe a 4B to get it darker, because I'm drawing this a little darker than I would because it can get lost in all the shading later on. So generally a bit softer pencil, I think, is a good idea. If you've got it. If all you got is an HB, that's what you go with. And you can do it with that too. Okay, we're getting close to 5:30. If anybody needs to jump off, I never did ask if how long people had. Keep it slow, Jasmine. Don't jump. And we will look at these drawings at the beginning of next class. So we will have a chance to share them, bring them along. And we'll be doing something entirely different next week. So do as much of this as you can during the week and prepared for another weird thing next time. Okay. If you want to stick around and share or finish up, I'm here. Anyone, just acknowledging that I think I talked about an hour and a half and that time's up now.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this appropriate to put in on the Facebook page? I'd be really interested to see if people took a picture of a before and after, or made a note about which one that they did. I don't know, maybe it would inspire the other people in the group while they're learning. I don't know. Just thought I'd ask.
It would be okay, but we basically have closed this group for now.
Okay, I got you.
If you send me that stuff, I will definitely be using it next time I promote, and I'm hoping to.
Okay, that's good. That's what I wanted to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for your lesson. I'm excited to try and practice this.
Yes. And Angie, this is actually pretty much ideal size for a first off online teaching this course. I've done a beta with it with a smaller group. This is a great second group. Next time I'm ready to go with, I think 20 or 25 people, but I'm happy with this group size now. Or did I say
time to share?
I meant Angie. Yeah. Oh, but feel free to share. I'm not going to stop you. You know what? Building excitement about it, and the next group they'll go, hey, once I announce it and they're ready to jump in, that's fantastic too. So I'm not going to stop you. Absolutely not. Sorry for distracting you. If my voice is just sounding woo, 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 then you are turning into an artist. It's great. If you're hearing me, I'm a distraction, and I'll stop talking now again.
Knuckles are really hard.
Oh, I'm talking to myself. I was going to say, you'll discover in time, knuckles aren't really hard. They're just like anything else. They're just lines. They just are. At first, you see things as objects, and then later on, you just see, it's a shape. It's another shape. I can draw that shape.
I'm just finding the depressions around the knuckle are challenging. The recesses, right?
Mm-hmm. So again, the point is, don't think of the form, the volume of it. Just follow that line without even thinking. Because guess what? This here. Let me get it in here for you. And okay, let's get to another view here. This here is super hard to draw. If you think of it as fingers.
Looking on edge kind of thing.
Yeah. If you think of foreshortened fingers. But if I were to draw that following the bug, it's no problem at all because I'm not even thinking about the form in space. I just follow the bug around the edge.
Yeah.
That transforms this from being something almost impossible to draw to something super simple to draw. It's night and day. If I asked anybody who hadn't done this exercise to draw this, even people that are experienced at art, they'd end up drawing something probably like that more.
Yeah.
If not that. But they would have a horrible time drawing this. But if you follow the bug, you can actually do that with little problem. And so the same thing with knuckles. Don't be playing with the concept of the form or even recognizing the form. Just follow the bug on those simple lines, and it simplifies everything.
Really have to resist the temptation to fill in what you're not seeing. Your brain says it's there, but your eyes don't see it, right?
You're muted.
Thank you, Jasmine. Absolutely, your brain's going to tell you all sorts of weird things about this thing. It looks at that opposable thumb, and that is a weird. And look at how that knuckle can move. That's craziness. Your brain has no conception of what this actually is, or how it works, or how it moves. It's so unusual, and so you have to totally depend on your eyesight, and forget what you know, and leave it alone.
Does that come into play with inanimate objects as well?
And it can happen with anything. It just, the hand is such a convenient thing because we have such a huge ingrained pattern that we know of it. We think we know everything about it. We know it like the back of our hand, right? Well, we don't know it at all. So it's full of surprises. It's handy. It's right there. Handy. Sorry, bad joke. It's handy. Everyone has it. And we can recognize it on paper when we see it wrong. And everyone draws it wrong because they draw what they think. And it isn't that hard to draw right if you follow the bug. So it's a great place for transformation, and a very recognizable transformation from knowledge base to perception base.
Right.
Which is what we're trying to do, make that shift.
Randall, once we're doing this at this level, like where we're starting to shade and we're looking at it and so on, I'm not talking about when we do the initial
Mhm.
line contrast where we just let it all go.
Mhm.
Is there, like, if we look at it and we're like, oh my gosh, I messed up the proportion of this completely, like just thinking about our drawing brain versus our thinking brain and what you're trying to train in us. Like I had that happen. I started from, I'm going to say, the wrong side of my finger for where, like, I should have started on the other end of the hand for it to work for me. And the proportions were completely messed up. So I actually allowed myself to stop and restart. But I'm just wondering, like, when we're trying to, because I'm trying to respect the process here,
Mhm.
should we do that, or should we just say, well, this is what we got and kind of work through it?
I usually, what I say to people, if it's such a big thing that it's throwing you off and
Yeah.
it's messing your game, then do it.
Yeah.
If it's not, if it's just a lovely mistake that can be part of the drawing and just
Yeah.
you can chalk it up to stylistic or learning process or anything else you want where you can just live with it. So it's
Yeah.
really your gut response. If it's like,
Okay.
this is messing me up, I cannot proceed, then deal with it.
Yeah.
If you can deal with it and it's like, I'm cool with it, and it's just a drawing in the process.
Yeah.
It's just something along the way. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm going to embrace the mistakes and the problems and just say, hey, it's absolutely, and it's kind of lovely to have a record of those things as
Yeah.
well. And guess what? Sometimes those things can be inspiring in terms of stylistic choices, because guess what? In the end, the best art isn't necessarily about getting the shapes perfectly right and everything.
Yeah.
But learning to draw, the best way to do it is to get those shapes, is to get
Yeah.
the perception thing going for us, and then get that so that you feel confident, you feel in control. Later on, then you make stylistic choices and you have the world. Whereas I know people who they're taught like, oh, get your feelings on canvas, and what their feelings on canvas are is just a mess because they haven't learned the basics and they don't know what they're doing and they have no control.
Yeah.
But those that can, once you can do this, you can do anything. Whereas
Yeah.
those who only do the mess, they can't only do the mess, they can't do anything else, right?
Yeah.
So this is what this is about. This is about getting a foundation, a strong
Yeah.
foundation.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, what I made myself do was I made myself initial it and date it and write what I was feeling with it, because the perfectionist in me in the past would have either A, quit, or B, torn it out. Yeah, torn it out so it's gone, right? And I thought, no, I bought this notebook so I could have a record of this class. That's something I did, own it, and then I moved on to the next one. So thank you for that.
And I think all of us need to do. I mean, I own it when I do paintings that I don't. I mean, there's stuff that I've kept hidden, and I've shown it now. Like I that was stuff showing, and I do stuff live where there's a big risk that this painting is just going to go belly up. It's going to just flop, and there's points along the way. It adds to the adventure, it adds to the drama, and I've just learned to just embrace that and be involved in the adventure instead of in the end product. Like, think of this as a story and as a movie, a novel, and there's adventures all the way along, and there's things that go wrong, and that's all part of the story. And if you lose that, then all you got is like, hey, look at what I did. And it's like, oh, I read the last page in the story and I got none of the excitement of the process of getting there.
Yeah, but at one point tonight I had 6 fingers, so I had to fix that.
I don't know if you do. I think
So that started off with 6 fingers. And
but that's pretty brilliant. Wow, I love it.
Great. So this is the one
from the workshop.
From the workshop, and I thought, well, that was damn good.
Such an improvement on that
one. I was like, yeah, how the hell did that happen?
Like in a week, you've come even that much further. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. Oh, this video replay is going to be super long. So I don't know if at some point, maybe I should actually get in and edit them and chop out the middle part. Although it's kind of fun because a few people like Deb and Jasmine have the cameras on their drawings and we can actually watch the process. So it's kind of fun too. How you guys feeling?
the first blind contour one we did,
Mhm.
my like hand or fingers or whatever, the proportion gets so off. So I think that one of the easier ones for me is the second one we did where we can glance over. That
Mhm.
way I'm not getting too judgy of it, but then I can also keep my proportions somewhat like right.
It's true, but with the practice, even that first exercise, you'll get better and better at it. Your brain will be able to, your drawing brain will be able to control where your hand is, so you'll understand where your pencil's jumping and whatever. Um, but if that other one works better for you, do it. Do that one for your exercises. But either way, what of anybody in this group, Jasmine, I want you to keep practicing all week long. Because you got a young brain. It's going to learn so fast. You're going to get so good so quick if you keep practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to keep practicing like the first one, like the all the way blind contour, just so that like I mean it is possible that I can get better at it. So
You will. There's no doubt. It's like, I mean, come on, think about it. Do you play sports? Do you sing or play a musical instrument?
I sing
You
and
sing?
play guitar.
Okay, so guitar. How long did it take you to get any good at guitar? First time you had a guitar in your hand, did you make good sounds?
No.
So think
No,
about
not
it.
really.
Like, but a lot of people, they'll anything else in life, they'll go like, oh, that takes time, that takes practice. But with drawing, they'll go like, I tried it, didn't work. I'm no good. I'm like, what? That's nonsense. That's insane. How can you know? You know? But the problem at the same time is there really hasn't there isn't a consistent way for people to be taught to really draw for the most part out there. It's pretty inconsistent. And again, most people are simply saying, as opposed to with music, we got music theory, we've got how to hold the guitar, how to curl your fingers, how to strum, how to pick, all those things you can be taught. The drawing, somewhat, but it's often just, oh, paint along with me or follow along with me, or just look harder or practice more. And what I'm hoping to give you is a very specific roadmap that, like you say, in the beginning will be very specific, and then later on it'll be quite different. It'll be like then you can start going different ways. And in fact, next week you're going to be going like, is this even the same class? When I give you the next exercise, you'll be like, what? Oh, I should have mentioned to people, if you can next week, if you got bigger paper, bigger is better for next week. I'll mention it in the chat. But bigger is better. Oh, look at you. Do we have the same sketchbook? I bought, these are dollar store ones. I bought. Oh, you got a nice one. I bought a couple of dollar store
Mine's
ones.
dollar store too. I got it just for this one, but for the
I
courses.
usually have my $20 books and whatever. And I was drawing in my mom's old sketchbook, but the paper is really rough, and I wanted to play with a smoother paper. This is too smooth. I need to find something halfway between. That's my favorite. Like when it's too smooth, this is like drawing on glass almost. And then my mom's sketchbook is like drawing on a bit on sandpaper. And I want something halfway in between.
Mine is like probably about half in between. So
Well, it sounds like it could be perfect. Perfect.
Jasmine,
Wow, Jasmine, it's what, 8 o'clock for you?
yep.
Quarter after 8. So
I was just gonna say, Jasmine, how about you and I challenge each other to do a full blind contour every day this week of our hand. Finish the hand as slow as we can.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd be up for that. That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Awesome.
I like that.
Anyone else who wants to play along, jump in too. But I know for me, like if I have accountability, it helps a lot. So if I have to show up next week and say, oh, Jasmine, I only did 4 or 3 or none, then eek. So I'll try and do it every day.
I beat you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You. So Jasmine, are you doing online school as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll go back soon, but
Yeah. Because they kind of shut things down in Ontario, didn't they?
yeah.
I'm back teaching college in person. So yeah, I taught yesterday and I'm teaching again tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, kind of nice, but it's got its downsides too. I also have to travel and it's been cold, but it actually warmed up the last couple of days, so I'm lucky. Didn't have to drive through any snowstorms so far.
Do you like teaching online sometimes more?
There's some things about it. Like last year I taught online the whole year. And this year, in the fall, I only had 1 week online because they had a short shutdown. But here's the thing: when I got a class of like 15 students, I got some of those kids that are like 20, 25 feet away from me. Their heads are behind their laptops. I have no idea what's going on. When I'm teaching this way, I see every single one of them in the eyes, and I even go like, "Tristan, what are you looking at right now?" And he's like, oops, I got caught. He's off looking to the side while I'm trying to talk, while I'm actually trying to show him something, you know. But I had some students who just said, hey, it felt a lot more personal and connected. Plus, guess what? I go off and I do a side meeting. I do a breakout room with some of the students while the others were in the main group. And it's kind of really cool. So yeah, especially since that was graphic design course. And so we're working digitally anyway. We're looking at computers anyway. We're working with software anyway. I'm still figuring out how to do all this drawing thing. I have done this class once in digitally with my beta group. And there's certain aspects to this I'm still trying to get in my brain. What's the best way to teach it? I'm thinking I might have to put together some graphics, some animations, find some 3D online models of spaces. I'm not sure how I'm going to do some of these. Some of them I did by walking around the community with my camera, but doing that live is iffy, especially with the Wi-Fi in my community. So I'm not, and plus winter. So I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out some of the aspects of it. And so there's still a little beta going on here, but I think I'm pretty confident we can provide something good for you guys. And I've got a little more time. I'm not teaching as much this semester. Generally, this week I'm two days a week, but from then on, and mostly 1 day a week. And so I can focus on some time on getting, besides which, here's the other part of the plan is what I'm doing for you guys. I'm trying to also do a video version so people can take the class in video and then meet with me maybe once a week in the Q&A, right? So they can watch the video, do the exercises, and then show up at the Q&A with their stuff and their questions and all that stuff there. So I'm hoping that could work because I'd like to do a little less teaching and a little more coaching, if that makes sense. Because a lot of this stuff, the teaching is repetition. It's saying the same thing over and over again. But the important stuff is the coaching where I help people with their individual development and questions and things like that. So that's kind of a bit of a dream of mine where I would like to go with this all.
We're going to jump off, go eat some supper. Thank you very much, Randall. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys have been almost 2 hours now, so you've been very committed. So way to go. Or actually, what time do we start?
We're over 2 hours now.
Yeah, we're over 2 hours, 2:15.
2:15. I'm off too. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for sharing and being here. I really appreciate it.
You've done excellently. I've set up a doodle for the Q&A sent it in Messenger. I've sent the Messenger link for the class as well. So there are already replays from previous versions of the workshop, but I'll add this replay in the next day or so. Okay. All right. Okay.
Good night.
Good night.